Hello, welcome to Create It with Sandra. I am recording this video for a second time because the first time through I didn't have any sound and it was such a cute card. So now I had to make up another card with the same layout so I could try this video again. Fingers crossed. So before I get into the card we're making, I'm just letting you know Stampin' Up! Is having an amazing join opportunity this month in October. So if you're watching this in October 2025, reach out, let me know. Right now you can join for as little, I think it's $39, $35, $35. And you get $125 a free product. Or if you want to sign up at a regular rate, $99, I think it's $165 in free product. So it is an amazing join offer. I will have it linked on my Facebook page, or you can find more information on my Create It with Sandra page on my website. Now, today I am going to be playing with a suite. It's a toile, like Autumn Toile suite. And I'm playing with stamp sets and all sorts of things. So I'm going to take you down to my desk and we're going to try this again. So I did not tidy up my desk because it's the second time around. So the first card I had made, I was mirroring the sketch, the layout from my son's birthday card. And I built this one and it was so cool. And I thought, okay, well, now I got to try it again. So let me introduce the products we have. This is Amber Autumn stamp set and dies and Autumn Trees stamp set and dies. I did not use the gathering leaves on this next one, this embossing folder, but I did use it on this one. Very cool. Now, the shimmer on here, I actually was gifted some shimmer that I just rubbed on with my fingers. But if you want some shimmer like that to bring out your embossed cardstock, consider running Versamark down your page with embossing, use the metallic embossing powders and you can emboss it and that would give you shimmers also. The paper is gorgeous. Let me get this stuff out of the way. And this paper is different than our regular patterned paper because, so I've got all these here, I gotta get this out of the way, is different than our regular pattern paper because you have 4 double-sided pieces instead of 2, but you get 3 pieces of each. So here is green pheasant. You can see I've cut in it, and we'll be using this in this next class. We've got those beautiful trees that I used in the previous card. And then it's got a wonderful brown plaid. There again is the pheasant with and this is the same pattern that is in that embossing folder. This is the pumpkins and gourds, and it has a gray texture. And then we have these wonderful lines. I put this one in kind of backward. And then this is like the red fox. I love this red orange. Think Calypso coral. Yeah. And you get 3 sheets of each. So it's still a full paper pack, just not as many designs. It coordinates with the paper pumpkin, I believe, that just came out as well. So it is a very, very cool suite. It also comes with this irregular weave ribbon, these wonderful embellishments. The camera does not do it justice, you guys. So let me show you the new card I came up with. So this was the previous one, and I brought in the gold, and I brought in a little bit of gold here. And here I just did some more cardstock to separate them. But you have like a little focal point, a little sentiment, and you have an off split, a larger pattern and a little smaller pattern. Or in this case, this was just embossed cardstock. Let me show you what I did. And this I think that it's a great way to show how you can step up your cards. I have been watching lots of scrapbook YouTube videos, and I know there's some people that are hardcore stampers, card makers, and then there's other scrapbookers. But I think that there's a lot to learn from both. And I've been watching a few ladies that I'm really enjoying. And so I'm taking some of their techniques for scrapbooking and I'm bringing that over into my card making. So here is my DSP, my bigger pattern, and here's my smaller pattern. And that would work fine, but I wanted to see how I could take it a step up. And I'm learning that I'm being reminded that those little details matter. So what I've got is I have a little sponge dauber. I keep them in plastic because I'm such a gremlin. And, on this card, I only sponged this one. I didn't sponge this paper, but I might sponge both of these now that I look at them, just to elevate it a little bit. And I have both tools. I have sponge daubers and I have blending brushes. And some people just do one or the other. And you can do that, but I always kind of look at the sponge dauber as the precision. And I use the blending brush as to try and cover lots of surface. So on this one, for the brown, because it is a little bit darker and then it has the gold on top, I did actually go over it with a blending brush over all those rays to kind of make it a little bit darker. And then I brought in the gold to make the design pop. Really, really like that. But on this one, I'm just going to use a dauber. And depending on your angle of how you do this, depends on how much ink you actually put on the paper. So I do want it subtle. I don't want a great big smear of ink. So I'm going the parallel to the paper here. And you can see just doing little bits. This is a technique, honestly, we've known about and have used for years. And I used to do it quite a bit. And I kind of fell out of practice. And I'm excited to do this again. My friend Peggy loved doing it all the time. She really loved this technique. And so I thought I would bring it back. Now you can wash these, but I just label them and keep them with a color or a color family. They are still available. I believe they come in a package of 6. And I think that these are just a really great tool. So I'm going to put these two side by side, a clean sheet and a sponge sheet. And you can just see that little bit of difference. So a lot of times they will do this in scrapbooking if they want an edge but don't want to lay another mat because they're trying not to make their pages super thick. And so they'll do this to make the pattern kind of stand out. But I think you can see the difference there really well. I like it. So we're going to go ahead and just do this one real quick. it's a good little bit of art therapy. And if I wanted more ink, I would come more straight on and pull off, or a little bit more, maybe like at a 45-degree angle, or I just really want it subtle. And I guess I didn't have to do this side because that'll be covered up anyway. But for the sake of, just so I can show you the differences, and it's just a little technique. It's not super difficult or expensive or complicated. And it's one of those oldies but a goodie. Sometimes it's amazing. We forget how much we actually knew until we're reminded, and it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I knew about that. Look at, okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to flip this up so I don't get anything in it. Put this away because I don't want to make a mess. Now, again, I want to do that kind of side by side so you can see. Can you see that? It's really subtle, but I think it's one of those things that just elevates it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to come onto here. Now, I could put, because I inked those edges, I could just put those two together and proceed with my card. It's really nice. But I kind of like having a transition strip. And this is something else you see in a lot of scrapbooking. If they'll put just a little strip down there and really gives you a place for your eye to rest before it goes on to the next pattern. It just has that solid block to kind of give space between those two. And so I'm pro little strips. And this is where you could insert little metallics because, you know, we have the metallic paper, we have our glimmer paper, depending on what kind of a layout you're trying to do. And we don't want to use huge sheets of it. We hoard that. I mean, I hoard that like crazy. I'm going to not put that super down yet. I'm going to wait and get this one done. But we do need to be using it. And so if you use it in those little strips, it adds that little bit of an interest. It adds a little bit of, I'll go ahead and just, because I'm going to do the transition strip anyway, I'm going to, oh, maybe not. Overlap it just a bit. There we go. All right. Here, so metallics, and this Autumn Toile suite comes with, I think it's called metal or earth metallics or earth, something like earth metallics. We'll look at it in the count. So it does come with metallic paper, but I had a hard time cutting into it yet, and I had scraps of the early espresso from my other card. So there you've got your base card done versus, I'll do a little comparison here. And this is one my team's going to do. So spoiler alert, team, next week on our team meeting, we have team meetings every month, and we do card swaps and shoebox swaps and all sorts of things. So you can just see the difference. And this is a perfectly sweet card. If you don't have a lot of time, if you're running short on supplies, this is a very sweet card that anyone would love to have. But I'm saying doing those little things, I think, just elevates it that little bit. All right. So then I have this. And I am usually a blends gal. I like coloring fine. I don't mind it. But I usually go for the blends because they're quick and easy. But I took a look at a look at, why am I missing a bunch of my pencils I had out? Best intentions, right? I'm gonna come back over here. Oh, Calypso Coral. This was one of them. All right, here we go. So I didn't come in. I thought I would use pumpkin pie, but I'm really taking inspiration from the paper. And so I started with my lighter color first. And keep in mind, this is regular, just very vanilla cardstock. I did not use watercolor paper. So when I go to use watercolors to blend this, I'm going to use a very light hand. Okay. I'm trying to get quite a bit of color down here. Okay. And I haven't played with my pencils for a while. So I thought I would get them out, and I thought the pencils would give me a little bit softer look, and just another source of coloring that we kind of forget we have, and they do actually blend really nice. So I have that one. This was Calypso Coral, and then I'm coming in with Cajun Craze. And Cajun Craze has more of the orangey, right? And I'm going to come and I'm going to really try and lay a bunch of color in those creases and in the base. And if you want, might even come in with the Cajun Craze first and get all your dark lines done. And then I probably got a little too much of that Calypso Coral down. Hopefully the Cajun Craze will come through. And I don't want to spend a ton of time coloring, especially if you're mass producing. And that's why I usually, if I'm mass producing, I'll go with the blends because they're really quick. Now put some more down here in the bottom. Okay. But I believe I used it. Okay, so I came in here with crushed curry for the corn. Now I stamped this image in Early Espresso. I wanted to kind of keep with the brown theme. Pecan pie. Oh. Okay. So Early Espresso. Early Espresso I did bring in. I wanted some of that brown, but I didn't want a ton of it because I didn't want them too dark. That's what I struggled with my previous card. It was getting really, really dark. And ordinarily, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I wanted to bring some lightness to it so it still had that fall vibe. Okay. All right, I think that's all I did there. And then I did, we're going to do some just brown here. And then I'm going to come in with the rest of this is just going to be Old Olive. I just wanted a little mixture of color fall leaves, a little bit of variegation. I mean, these are all green, but I didn't have two greens that I loved together. So I just thought I would put a little bit of brown in there, and I just did that on the leaves. I left the corn husks. Here we go. Green, green. Just put a little bit of green there. All right, so good enough for coloring. Now I brought in water painters and usually blending brushes, but I don't seem to have really good luck with blending brushes. I actually like the painters better. And so what I did is I took the finest tip. Okay, got it wet. And then I'm going to come in with for the lightest color. So that for me, that would be yellow. Right? And I'm really not putting a lot of water on here. I'm just kind of smushing it around. And then I come in and dry it off a little bit and come into the next color. I'm still not squeezing that barrel, that tube. And blending. And I'm going really light with the water because I don't want anything to bleed. And I'm going up, so that's pulling that darker color up. Trying to kind of emphasize those lines. And if I ever feel like it's too wet, I'm just going to take some more water off. Okay. Now the green. Try and keep it just damp enough to get some colors to blend. But I don't want to flood my paper. I tend to go to the blends because on this fine stuff I sometimes get a little excited about things, and I like that the blends have that color lifter. I don't have that so much with the brushes. All right, so we're going to call that good. I am going to bring in my machine here real quick. There are so many beautiful cards out there being made with this suite right now, and we've been having like 80 and 90-degree weather, and yesterday it was like fall happened, and it was rainy and foggy this morning, and I thought, oh my goodness, I want to build a fire and make soup. So we'll see how long that lasts, but it might just have flipped a switch and it's fall. So I'm going to take my time positioning this die, because we've got a lot of swirlies and stuff that I don't want to lose. And I am going to use a little piece of Post-it. You can use washi tape or whatever you have, but I have Post-its next to my desk because I do for notes. So let's get this out of the way. Slow. Ta-da. Too bad. All right, put that aside. I'm going to let that dry just a little bit longer. So the other pieces I'm bringing in, let's get this out of the way. We did that. Ooh, this. The die set has detail as well. So they have a little leaf detail, and they actually have a sprig here, and I probably should have cut some of those too. That would be really good, but I didn't. And so we're going to just go with what we have. So I actually punched out a 2-inch circle of just basic beige. And another thing a lot of the scrapbookers do is they layer on their embellishments. I'm actually going to use this circle. It's going to poke out a little bit, but I'm going to use it as a backdrop to hold my little, all my embellishments. So I'm going to actually put quite a bit of tape down here, especially in one side where I know it's going to be covered. And usually when we loop something together, we put the loop up. I'm actually putting the loop down because I want it to kind of spread. There we go. So that's dried up. That's dried up enough. I'm actually going to come back over it with some Winka Stella. And again, it adds some texture, but it adds some interest, some sparkle without putting a ton of more layers. I'm just doing those boards, and then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do that corn a little bit. And again, I'm not flooding it. I don't know if you can even tell. I know the camera's not really great at picking up the little bit of shimmer. Can you see just a little bit of shine and shimmer? It just adds that. It's another layer of detail and interest. And there. Maybe I want a little more like this. Okay. And when the die comes, you get these two pieces. Usually that's the part we discard. But I'm seeing more and more people use that as a second element. So as I'm building this, remember I'm building it on that base. I laid a bunch of tape down, but it looks like I might need a little bit more right there in that corner. I'm going to have some of this peeking out. Okay. And a little down there like that. And if you have glue and you want to do glue, you definitely can do glue. But I have to move my computer to grab glue, so we're just going to tape it down. And there is, we call it clusters of embellishments. So I might want this one a little more up because I do want to make sure I get this to the side, and I want to make sure it can fit into, there we go, fit into an envelope. Let's grab some dimensionals and pop it up again to create a little bit more interest. So speaking of scrapbooking, I'm really excited to inform you, to let you guys know I am starting a scrapbook class, and it's actually right now, it is a free class. You bring what you're working on. I will provide a layout sketch, and you bring your materials. This is kind of just getting off and running. So hopefully we will see you there. I'm going to do that once a month in the evenings. As it grows, I may do something online. I am anxious to get back to scrapbooking. All right, so grateful for you sentiment. I'm loving, 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 loving. These are strips from scraps when you cut down the inside of the card. And of course, I didn't cut any down for the inside of this, so these aren't, I don't have anything on the inside yet. I wanted to mostly show you the outside. So I already cut one out, and I know that this is the angle. So I don't know if you know this. This is another trick. You can bring that piece and go like that. You see how I have that scrap right there? And that's going to get me that same angle. And that way, so you don't have one going, you know, me. I do that. So it is a cheat that I use. I'm going to put some dimensionals there. A little bit of tape there. Come down here. Whoops. Take off the backing of the dimensionals. Come on. I'm supposed to be seasoned here, and sometimes we still get a little caught up on creating. Okay. So I am going to grab a little bit of there. Hold this down. I'm going to let that adhere for a minute, and then I'm going to come in with these gems. The catalog has an up close picture, which is absolutely gorgeous. I don't think the camera's going to do it justice. Out of the plastic, can you see that a little bit better? It is not solid. It kind of reminds me of like Tiger's Eye a little bit. Very cool. All right. Again, we have a little bit more dimension. And there. And there. And a little one down here. There you go. That fiber is a little thick there, but that glue will take care of it. So here you go. You have one example. This is the same layout. This is really easy to reproduce at home. Just do, your pattern paper. I think I did 2 3/4 and 1 1/2 or 1 1/4. So you don't want them even. And the first one I did was just scraps. So you can make that adjust however you want and have a little focal point with your cinnamon coming out. Now I could have taken the sponge dauber and got around the sentiment as well. That's what Peggy would have done. But all in all, I love how it turned out. I think my team will enjoy making this. This has been a really fun suite to check out. If you have not seen it, it is in our mini catalog. If you don't have one of those, I have them available for porch pickup. So take a look. And if you've got a big shopping list, consider being a kitnapper and grabbing one of those kits. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.